Right now it's 11 11:27 a.m. and it's October 1st. Before I begin, I'd like to welcome um, former Lieutenant Governor, uh, Senator Victor Holcook. Also to my left, the floor leader in the Senate, Senator Vinny Flores Sablan. To his left, we have Congressman Minority Leader Angel Dimapan. To his left, I'd like to acknowledge our Secretary of Finance. I also like to acknowledge our Mayor, our Congressman Lee Pon, that's here. We also have our Congressman Roy Adam that's here, and we have various department heads and officers here, and some cabinet members that are here today. And I'd like to welcome everyone as well as our media partners. I'd like to also acknowledge our acting director for OMB, Nadia. Thank you. And so today is a very important day. And as you know, uh, I am mandated by Constitution to give the budget to the legislature by April 1st, and I have done that. And the House passed their version on August 27 on a Saturday and transmitted to the Senate on August 29, and then the Senate acted on it swiftly and expeditiously, and you guys passed it for the original Senate version. Senate version is Monday. 27. Monday, right? The Senate passed it on Monday, and then the House um, rejected that version, with the exception of five minority that voted in support of the Senate version. And then the House and the Senate had a conference committee on Thursday, and they came out with a joint budget that we have before me. The House and the Senate passed, I think, unanimously. Mhm. On Friday, yesterday afternoon, we had OMB, Secretary of Finance, my legal counsel, and our staff um, addressed thoroughly with the bill, and we worked all the way even past midnight last night, and that's the reason why we're here today. With that said, we are here with a product from both houses, and I would like to either ask some of the Senate and some of the House to say a few words before I sign it, or we can go down on what I line item veto and then have the discussion. So um, that's where we're at. Before I begin this, I would like to personally thank the Aegis office, Lillian and Carl, that came down yesterday and worked throughout the evening to make sure that, along with Gail and Janina, that our decision and the language was legally sufficient. And so I want to thank their assistance. I would like to also acknowledge the hardworking staff of OMB and Secretary of Finance and Secretary. I know that you have your dad passed away, and condolences, but it shows your priority when you stayed almost all day yesterday and into the evening to address this very important, perhaps definitely the most important bill for the entire Commonwealth. So, with that said, I would like to give the floor to Chairman of the Fiscal Affairs in the Senate and also co-chair of the committee, joint committee.
Thank you, Governor, but maybe I'd like to yield to the floor leader to thoughts about the big difference and the compromise between the House and Senate conferees as it relates to the House position of 2080 and the Senate version to reverse the 2080 to 80/20. Floor.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you. Good morning. And good morning to everyone that's here in the governor's conference room, and good morning to all that are viewing on the media outlets. Today's a very exciting day. And not only exciting, it's a comforting day for our people. And each year, as legislators, we come together and we try to work on a product of the budget that is presented to us by the governor. If there's one important thing that we do at the legislature, this is the most important thing of our terms in the legislature, is to pass a budget. And we're here now. I had the honor to serve in the conference committee of the Senate under the leadership of Chairman Senator Victor Hokuk. There was a lot of moving parts. We had to take a lot of time, a lot of energy looking at different portions of the budget that was presented to us. We did pass, or the House did pass, the initial version of House Bill 22-116 and was sent to the Senate. The Senate amended and created its own version and was sent back to the House. The House, like the governor said, rejected the Senate version, which forced the conference committee. And the conference committee went to work and we came up with a product. One of the House's approach to the budget bill was to use 80% of ARPA funds to fund the personnel of the CNMI government in the fiscal year 2023. The Senate saw that that was not a wise move. We understood that ARPA was approved from a spending plan. The governor, as the executive of the state, had to turn in a spending plan to the Department of U.S. Treasury. That plan was approved, and it was then that the monies were given to the CNMI and expended to satisfy the portions that were placed in the spending plan, like ensuring that we invest money into broadband, ensuring that we invest money into healthcare, infrastructure, and a lot of other portions of the spending plan that was placed as a requirement. So we saw that if we were to take the House version and remove 80% and put it into paying the personnel of our government, it would have really affected the spending plan. And the unknown was, could we really do that? How would we go back and report to the U.S. Department of U.S. Treasury that the plan of spending ARPA is now changed? We didn't know what that would entail. So we made it clear, and it was not a topic of negotiation for the Senate. We wanted to make sure that the ARPA stays as it is, which is working, and the governor has been spending this money, and not only spending the money, investing it into turning ARPA money so that it could really carry us on after December 31, 2024. And that was one of the other reasons why we only have up to December 31, 2024 to expend all the monies of ARPA. So we wanted to make sure, and as you can see, a lot of those monies are going into sustaining, our government after these monies are expended. There was a lot of other parts. There was outside sources of revenue that comes into the CNMI in addition to taxes and what we gross from revenue. Outside sources such as the compact impact funds that came in. The House wanted to appropriate those funds. We made it clear that those funds can only be spent by the formula and by data that is provided to the state, and that's how monies will be expended on the compact impact fund. So we took the Senate version, and that's what is in the product today. There are other portions of the Senate version, and there are other portions of the House version that was collapsed in to come up with a balanced budget. We did compromise some parts of the budget, and I'll let the chairman articulate more on the other portions of the budget in regards to retirement, in regards to the matching funds for Medicaid, and other resources that provide service to our people. So with that, Gov, I'm going to yield to the Senate President as he took lead in the conference committee. But we're very happy. We're very happy that we were able to prevent a government shutdown. We all walked into the conference committee 2 days ago with one goal, and that one goal was to ensure that the minute we walk out that door is to prevent a government shutdown and to provide comfort to our people so that they could go on with living their lives. Okay? So with that said, thank you, Gov, and thank you, everybody. I yield to the Senator.
Um, President, I'm gonna put you now, and I just wanted to make sure your voice I can
Oh, yeah.
report. So here's the Senate President, and Senate President, go ahead.
Okay, afternoon, hello everyone, Governor, members of the legislature and the cabinets, and everyone that's there, members of the media. First, I want to thank, I want to apologize on behalf of the Tinian delegation for not being able to join you physically, but we certainly have this other protocol virtually, and I appreciate the option. But nevertheless, I want to thank Governor for and your team for acting swiftly on the disposition of this primary responsibility as elected officials in the CNMI. I couldn't have said it any better as what the floor leader was saying with regards to the conference committee members, both the Senate and the House. And one of the messages I often mention prior to the impasse is no one in the Senate is even thinking of a shutdown. And I think none of us are even thinking of a partial shutdown. So it is with that mindset and collaborative effort with the leadership of the Senate, led by the Fiscal Affairs Chair, Senator Toko, that they went in and we got the product that's before you today, Governor. I also wanted to thank primarily Secretary of Finance for his ready reference and available, as I was told that in the Joint Conference Committee rules, you're able to articulate some of the questions that the conference has, and primarily the House, with regards to some of the funding of this critical component, primarily Medicaid and the retirees. So all in all, without a doubt, it was a good product. It's a good working product, and I really applaud the administration of Governor Torres for the your focus on making things happen. And what really matters for the people of the Commonwealth is that we continue our government service, we continue our effort with the retirees, and we continue our support with PSS and healthcare and everything else, so that our people can sleep better at night, knowing that our our government leaders under your leadership were taking care of them. So thank you also to the conference led by Senator Vito Cook for all the work that you guys put in there. It's a good day. We are ready to move forward as we move forward together today. I want to see, Mr. Governor, if I can also give an opportunity for Chairman Cruz, who's the chairman of the delegation, a member of the conference, to say a couple of words with regards to this monumental day.
Well,
Okay, so thank you again, Sir Small City, Permiso. Congratulations.
no objection.
So move.
Apareno, Tirono, dan todo yung man involved in puma process history review ni part of the legislature. Toto tinian man matutusugi gobernamento parewa isinoma dani arpano na impediao. In extended si zero na si usmasi ni expeditiously no ma-review van lukan van sarsaga man maigo molik sa causa shutdown gini Islas Marianas. Un sincero na ng influences masi por todo no na chinante na tocho ni chechumizo todo rin man involved ni pamana siguro na causa shutdown. Besides non influences masi por no governor a conference led by si Senator Hoko bis Senate that a conference led by Chairman Western Dono ni Bla kinimprindi zamungan wa minasopi galungi itu especialmente siya ito to marana si man matutsugi government to gini slapta na pang kontentong zo sa todos tayo offer man masusesedi man masasangan siya gi legislature po ni administrasyon ako mga mananay na servisyon ito percent persistent na product dos uma man holum na para onyo na security na mga manlukan po dito miso 200%. At niya na may family pa na para din na make sure na humahalum na 100% i-pension miso peso. Ang plus yung mga governor ni maulit no na division bitamo that yung dirasti na po fakto lunes na pauna dia sabalo masyati man mapapasit siga mo na on mo ni patasit bitaw ta Zeus masit dan buenos dias.
Buenos dias.
You Governor.
Okay. Malagos laki Senate President sa namzo si Senator Cruz and Senator Caro. Pero si Congressman Patrick ang doklisus masilok ni Tortempo i Adzudud Bidzo. Ti para toto tinyana ba intermentin Marianas. Ti uzimizo leadership sa nistina partnership gi Senate. Maguvzo na stigin na baha produkto ni para ta protehi toto loki Marianas. Pues on behalf loki ni toto sinamay no si Zusmasin ni entendido dan yung prioritize istina budget dan the conflict committee. Si Zusmasi, will continue.
Thank you.
Shoot, tara mo.
Oh. Anyway, thank you to all that are here this after or this morning, including our media partners. First of all, I would like to extend to Governor Torres our biggest appreciation for his expeditious review of the 2023 budget as a result of the Senate and House Conference Committee product. Senator Vinny, the floor leader, thoughts on the meat of the conference disagreement or differences is the 2080 to return back to 80-20. But before we act on that, I just want everybody to know that we placed the two consuls from the House and the Senate to tell the conference committee whether or not the action of the House to appropriate ARPA funds is legal, as our counsel at the Senate is telling us otherwise. So during their exchange, we took out the letter from the Attorney General advising or responding to Chairman Donald Manglonia's inquiry of whether or not we can appropriate ARPA. And it's very indicative from the letter answered by the Attorney General that the legislature have limit to appropriate, not without limit. And that limit extended that the legislature cannot appropriate ARPA funding. So based on that opinion that the Senate used to break the differences, I asked again our counterpart House conference that we will take action with the Senate version to return the 2080 to 8020, using the general fund to fund all the department, and ARPA funds will be used to support other department needing that 20% in the amount of $32.32 million that the governor has made authorization for the legislature to put their hands on. And they were adamantly refrained from answering yes or no in the first time, but I told them that in order for us to move forward, we need to dispose first the heart of this appropriation from Senate version. Anything thereafter that follows our discussion and compromise is easy to accomplish. So having them to agree with the Senate version, then we tackle this is the three major disagreement between the House and the Senate is the return of 80/20, the 25% for the retirees and death benefit for the whole year, and the Medicaid matching fund. And when I make mention that when the governor put out on his press release that he's assuring the retirees the first quarter that they will get their 25% benefit, that's where House Bill 22, that's 116 HD2 comes into play and try to trump the governor commitment for the retirees for the first quarter, and they insert a provision that took away, they collapsed the general fund to fund the 25% from the general fund for the whole year. That equals to $13 million. And that's what happened with that House bill, is they trumped the governor's commitment to ensure that the 13 million is coming up from their own wishful thinking. So I communicated with the Secretary of Finance that the House chairman was telling us that when the Secretary of Finance responded him that the CDL loan fund, he responded that there's only a $36,000 balance. And how can we pay the matching fund for the Medicaid? But one thing they forget is that when the chairman asked the Secretary of Finance to provide the balance of the CDL back then, yes, it was 36. But they did not follow any question to find out whether there's additional reimbursement under that account that I was telling them that that account will fund the 7.2 Medicaid funding without collapsing the general fund to fund the 7.2 million for Medicaid. So they went in and deep into ARPA, reserved $20 million. And that cannot do so because what is happening, Medicaid they are using that account to pay prior years' obligation to providers that are unpaid. Medicaid cannot use the funds directly given to them to pay 2 years back debts. So when the Medicaid funds comes in, that's where Medicaid took that new funds and reimbursed that account, our account. And that is supposedly what Medicaid is doing. So I told them that the Secretary of Finance have assured me that there is 10 million that can augment the 7.2 matching funds from the CDO. Still, they are very iffy about that. So I even went in with the conference to inform our counterpart to put that in the administrative provision of the bill that the Secretary of Finance will be providing the 7.2 million dollars for matching, as well as the 25%, the 13 million for the retirees benefit. And when we formed this committee, I had the opportunity, and thank you, Secretary, for making your time available despite of the situation that you're in with the loss of your dad, that you provided the committee your time to explain that to the conference committee, that ascertained what I was telling them, that we don't need to use the local funds under your bill, your version, to fund the two very important subject of the operation. And the Secretary of Finance guarantee the payment for 7.2 million for the matching fund of the Medicaid and the 13 million for the retirees. And I called the Secretary of Finance that evening and I asked him to just come, and it won't take you 20 minutes probably to answer and affirm the statement that I make to the conference. So he did that, and that's how we move forward with everything else. So what the House saying that they appropriate the 25% benefit. There's no appropriation made in this 2023 budget for Medicaid. Nothing in the bill that appropriate. It's just an authorization affirming the commitment that the Secretary of Finance will be responsible and set aside that funding already to pay those two major concerns that we have. So the funds was never appropriated under Senate Substitute CC1. Thank you.
All right.
I hope I make that clear explanation so that everybody understood what took place.
Thank you. I would like to just real quick, no, the secretary, just real quick do the breakdown on the for the Medicaid and the retirement, and then I'll ask perhaps the minority leader to say a few words.
Thank you, Governor. Yeah, just to be clear, the Budget Appropriation Act in front of the governor for his signature does not appropriate. I think it's this administration and Governor Torres' commitment for his whole political career focuses on ensuring that the retirees get paid. And that commitment continues. I would not commit any funding without the governor's approval, and he has adamantly said, what can we do for our retirees and ensure that they get paid? So this administration identified the funds, not appropriated by the legislature, but we are able to locate funding and make it available for our retirees, as well as the Medicaid matching of 7.2 million, in addition to the 5 million in our current fiscal year to match Medicaid, as well as looking at other opportunities, other funding opportunities to continue to support our Commonwealth Health Center. And as we still continue through this pandemic, this administration ensures that we keep our communities safe and assured that this administration will do everything we can to make sure that we have a strong Marianas. Thank you, Governor.
Thank you, Secretary.
I forgot one to make mention.
Okay. Good, because we're not just signing.
No, no, for the purpose of everybody's information, Senate version, restore, OFT is deleted from the House version. And this FTE from the ARPA funds that was deleted by the House total out to 2,103. The Senate reinstate that. On the local version, the House version deleted 170. Anyway, it's 100 plus from the local. The Senate again restored it back. Everything is restored by the Senate of what was deleted from the House. So I just want to make that clarification.
Thank you. And also, I'd like to again acknowledge that the minority supported the Senate version, and I'd like to ask for minority leader, and then perhaps even Congressman Roy and Congressman Lipon, if you want to say a few words after Congressman and minority leader Angel.
Thank you, Governor. And first, I want to say thank you, Governor, and your team for burning the midnight oil to get this budget enacted into law today. As your former chief of staff, I kind of miss working through the night, but thank you and your team, and it's just amazing and unreal to see you up and about early this morning, trekking the island with Frank the Crank. So I think thank you for your energy. Yeah,
And her.
First Lady and Floor Leader Vinny were out this morning, so we thank you for that energy and that inspiration that gives people hope. And this budget process and this budget before you today, and the fact that you're able to get it done today, gives us hope. It gives inspiration. And I want to clarify one thing in this process. It's clear that the House minority voted for the House version in the first round. There were only 3 of us on that day, 3 against. I don't know how many of those people are, but life is about benchmarks. On that day, there was one budget version before us. And in the spirit of moving this forward, because we already knew there was a crunch for time, we had to move this budget to the Senate. We supported a version that had no comparison. When the Senate passed their version, something better came before us. And there's nothing in the world that prohibits us from unsupporting something for something better. It's like yesterday vanilla, today chocolate. We have that judgment to make, and we made that judgment when the Senate version came forward. We believe that was now the best version to guide our budget forward for this new fiscal year. And so we were more than happy to support the Senate version, and we voted against its rejection because we believe that that's the product, and that was the time that the people already needed a budget in place to alleviate the fears. And so we were proud to support it, and we'll do it all over again, because really one of the key things I really want to commend Chairman Hokuk and the members of Fiscal Affairs and the members of Conference Committee and the full Senate under Senate President Hofschneider is to make sure that there was this battle on 80-20 ARPA, whether 80-20, 20-80. But at the end of the day, there was one thing that we cannot overlook. We cannot jeopardize U.S. Treasury restrictions and approvals just because we call ourselves the legislature. We cannot jeopardize the one thing that could take all that funding away from us. So we thank the Senate for making sure that we stay within the confines of the United States Treasury. And we're thankful to you, Governor, and your team that today we're sitting here about to sign a budget into law. Thank you very much.
And back to that, Congressman, is this. If they acted on this budget in June, they have all the time in the world to ask questions. Even last year, after the budget was passed, why didn't they write a letter to U.S. Treasury and say, do we have the authority to appropriate these funds? I don't think there's any letter out. If there is, I would like to see it. If not, why haven't they done it? So now we're backing into the budget, and all of a sudden, we have the authority. So, and I said this in the past, it's not so much of what you guys voted on. That was my issue. My issue was, why did the House majority took this long to act on it and then jeopardize every government employee here. That was my biggest issue. With that said, Congressman Lipon, you want to say a few words, and then Roy, and then we'll get going because I think it's already almost noon.
Thank you, Governor. Uh, Thank you to the committee for expeditiously moving this forward. I will not take so much time because I know that the government employees that are at stake and the retirees are anxiously waiting for your signature on that budget. And for that, Mr. Governor, I appreciate the effort that your staff and the AG sat down yesterday to go over the budget. And again, let's put the ink on that paper so the retirees could be content. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Governor. Everything is already, has been said, and thank you, Senate, for articulating all the details as to what happened. Other than that, I'd just like to thank the governor for making sure that the services, vital services, are still afforded to the people and continue to provide those necessary assistance to those people. So other than that, thank you, everybody, all the cabinet members, all the uh, government employees for your public service. I really do appreciate everything that you guys do. So with that, Governor, let's sign that.
Okay, so I would like to ask if it's okay for all of you to come back here and read while I sign this. So I ask everybody to come back here and join me. Yeah, we're over here so that we can, the whole team, OMB. I need you here too, legal counsel. Janina, everyone that participate, all of you, beautiful ladies and commissioner, everybody come before and because this is what we do in the administration. We get together to acknowledge good things, officers. Will continue. So again, TJ, I'd like to have you be here, please, because you do handle our media part. Your series, can you please come and Nadia, because you guys, you ladies work so hard. Where's Janina? Janina, come over. Where's Gil? Oh, see, follow this lead. Is already right behind. So again, on behalf of the people of the Commonwealth and the leadership that you see before us, it is my great pleasure, despite my disappointment with the House majority for passing this late, we do have now, thanks to the Senate leadership and the House minority for voting for the Senate version, we now have a House Bill 22-116 HD2 SS1 CCS1, which is the Conference Committee, and this law would be Public Law 2222.
Dali, dali, go.
That would be the. Let me just do one more. Yeah, sure. And then I would then now find the actual bill. So this is the actual bill. Congratulations, everyone. And thank you for your hard work and dedication. Thank you. So again, to all our government employees, I thank you for all the hard work and dedication. And I apologize for any inconvenience and any worry that whether you go back to work Monday. But thanks to the leadership, let's give them a great appreciation for prioritizing the importance of your employment and bringing back your workforce to the entire workforce of the government. So again, thank you for this, and let's have a great day for everyone. Like what Senator Floor Leader said, see you at work Monday.